Welcome to Pommy and Oz. I hope we're all doing really well. If you are new around here, drop a like, drop a subscribe. I'm a little bit worse for wear this morning, so if you would like and sub, that'd be grouse, because I'm struggling. Carlton won. Jeez. And we also got to see this.
Here, Pom, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can, mate. Are you all right?
This one's for you. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. We are the Navy Blues.
Woo!
We are the old dark Navy Blues. We're the team that never lets you down. We're the only team all Carlton knows. I don't know the songs. Are the champions. They like to send us. We'll keep our hands up. And now they know that they've been playing against the famous Old Dark Blues.
He's a great sport, is our Luke, and we thank him very much. I'd just like to start off just giving him a huge shout out. He's a good mate of mine, is Lukey, and he took that well. And I've been partying all night, let's put it this way. I really did feel the occasion for Serge, for the club. Built the rivalry up quite a bit, me and Lukey have, and I think we've shaken a bit of life into this old dog. And let's talk about the game. A 29-point win. The game looked dead and buried, didn't it? In the first quarter, we really didn't come out of the blocks. We kind of got lucky in the second. Third, we clung on. And then that fourth quarter. Oh, what an absolute day we had. What a day. 17-8 inside 50s. 40 points to just 3 behinds. It's the thing of legend, isn't it? A thing of legend. And they couldn't contain us. And I thought what was interesting about the team this week was, particularly in the fourth, they adjusted really well. Now, Collingwood make it incredibly hard to win ball out of clearances. It's one of their little strengths, particularly around the stoppages. And I thought how we changed the personnel. I like the structure of our midfield. And if you actually look, these are the centre bounces attended. You see there's some names there that you probably don't see very often, but I want to highlight one in particular, and that is Zachy Fisher. Majority of them were in the second half, 7 of them, up against Taylor Adams and John DeGoey, and I thought he was impeccable, because his attacking threat to run towards the attacking half dragged DeGoey and Taylor Adams to kind of not be so committant in the ruck contest, in the fall of the ball. And it allowed Dow, it allowed Kennedy and Sam Walsh to really tear them apart in that area. And I think that, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, because there is better centre clearance teams, there's better midfields that you'll come across. But what that showed us is when you've got Cripper, who averages around 94%, what Kennedy did was he acted a little bit like Taylor Adams does, and we talked about that in the preview, that he's a barometer for how the speed of the ball moves. And Cripper sometimes gets kind of caught, I think, guilty of trying to do it himself. And he has that like little circular pattern he runs in, looking to take the game on, where Kennedy hasn't got that skill level, so he was always looking for a runner. And I thought that the penetration we got in the middle of the ground in contested situations, around stoppages and around centre clearances, particularly in the fourth, was absolutely brilliant. And when we start to run, you saw the pressure factor from the Pies oscillate around the high 180s, 90s to 163, just 5 tackles in there. And it's because they couldn't get near us. And the free-flowing game of Carlton, I think, says a lot about how we were playing. It was important that we won this game, not just for Serge, not just for our club, to square the ledger. Rivalry games are huge in the AFL, and for me, I don't think they've done enough, and I think that they're starting to die in the AFL from the players and the fans. And these kind of games there bring it back because it was a phenomenal turnaround. And what we really did see from the boys, 24 intercept marks, a season high. Zach Williams really roaming and looking to impact the game. He had a terrible first quarter, but he bounced back. Harry Mackay, terrible first half. He really couldn't get into it. He tried, but he stuck with it and knew the opportunities would come. And what is amazing about this side is when the momentum gets going, and I don't want to get carried away, but when the momentum gets going, they are really, really good. Like that fourth quarter, yes, you can only beat what was in front of you, but they saw and they sensed Collingwood's legs were tiring and they took the game in and they took their opportunities, and that's all you can ask of a team. Long season ahead, still 4 points away from the finals. It's absolutely crazy for me to think after the season we've had, we're still in with a chance. And we're going to start to see a lot about these boys now, because I think what is amazing about Carlton is our best, like we saw in the fourth, like we saw earlier in the year, was how often our best is against our worst. Like if you look at that as a club, our best to our worst, I would say is the worst in the AFL. Like you see them quarters against Adelaide, Fremantle, the Doggies in parts, this game, particularly the fourth. The difference is chalk and cheese. It's like two different teams, and you don't see that really with any other club in game. You see them fluctuate game day, and we can't lose a legend every week. It's the nature of the beast. We don't want to. But you've got to ask yourself what motivated them in the fourth quarter. What changed it? Because from a structural perspective, not much changed. Yeah, they rotated probably a little bit more in there. But apart from that, he wasn't winning the centre clearances. The ball movement, again, went to a more short, sharper game style, as opposed to the long entries we saw in the first half. And if these are structural changes, why aren't we predominantly playing them? Because when you look at the key metrics, nothing much changes apart from them little eventuals. And why are we using it as a last resort? It feels like it's a last resort at this club, as opposed to that should be our main game plan. Because when we play like that, it's very hard to stop. When you see the ball penetrate that way, when the ball is presented inside 50 that way, very hard to stop Harry, because one-on-one, probably one of the best players in the competition, if not the best. The back line, again, there was spread. I thought the pressure coming in the midfield in the fourth was a lot more dynamic as well. And that, as opposed to the first, where it was very standoffish. You also saw, interesting, we haven't seen this in the fourth quarter for a long time with Carlton. The running ahead of the ball and to the mark was totally different. And there was been talk about we're not fit, but we proved we are. It's a real head scratcher. It's a real head scratcher. But the relief, the ecstasy of winning. I tweeted a lot last night. I got stuck into a lot of people last night. It was a real relief. A real good feeling that I haven't had at this football club for a long time. Like, I was genuinely happy, and thank you all for the shout-outs, the love, because that live was one of the hardest things I've ever done. It was so hard, and a big shout-out, because you're only as good as your partner, and Sweet Luke was amazing. And I was a one-man cheer squad, someone said to me today, a one-man cheer squad. And, you know, we had a few beers, so I want to finish this by giving a couple of toasts. So first one is to Sergio. Rest in peace, a legend, an icon of the football club and the AFL world. My heart goes out to the Silvani family, particularly Jesus. We saw how much he meant to him. To see him take a mark like that was akin to his dad and his granddad, warms the cockles of the heart, and someone that really gets this football club. And we're in good hands, because his lineage and his bloodline still runs through this club. And hopefully it will do for generations to come. And a huge loss to the club. So, shout out. Cheers to the Silvani family. The second one I want to give a cheers to, and this is probably weird coming from me, is the Collingwood Football Club. Their fans were violently in that game. They out-talked us for a lot of that game. But their passion and their belief was equal to ours. And it's made this the best weekend I can remember in football. So a huge shout out to the Collingwood Football Club, because with incredible hate has to come incredible respect as well. You have to respect your enemy. And they're one of the most successful clubs like us in the AFL. And without both our great clubs, this fixture, these names don't mean anything because it's a true traditional rivalry. So shout out to how you did it. I loved the hate inboxes and the love in equal measure because this is what makes this game so beautiful and what makes my final toast when I get to it so much more important. So cheers to you. And finally, a huge cheers to everyone here at the Pominos family, everyone at the Blue Abroad family, but on a bigger scale, to the Carlton Football Club fraternity. We go through some highs and we go through some lows as brothers and sisters of this club. We fall out, we argue, we get upset. But one thing that touched me was the people jumping to my defence yesterday in the stream, the people that have come and jumped into my defence on Swoop's stream, and the fact that we're together. This club is so much more important than you or I, because it's us. And that's all this club is. This club is us. This club is us. The players are the beneficiaries of our love. And it makes me emotional to be part of this. And it makes me emotional to think that you watch me and you take in what I do and stuff like that. It makes me really emotional because this is the first time in my life, getting a PM yesterday of me doing a shoey and someone saying, welcome to Australia, you're one of us. Great to have an Aussie Pom. It means the world to me. And honestly, to my brothers and sisters in arms, Carlton Football Club, this one's for you. That's it. 30 points. We move on to North Melbourne. I am so stoked. I have spent I had to sleep on the couch last night. I was too loud. Got involved in watching Sudanese Premier League. Absolute state. I need to go to bed and have a shower. But honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I love you blue baggers everywhere. We did them proud. Next week's live stream's going to be fire. I love you all. Go Blues. Pop out.